going to start tackling the questions. To my right. Yes, thank you.
I can start with the question that was speaking about the nomination letter. So I made mention of the two ways that we can interact or introduce yourselves to the AITF. The first one is the OEM nominating you to say we are dealing with this supplier, AITF locally. Or you can directly come to us and indicate the OEM or the tier 1 that you are working with, and we will contact that OEM to make sure that there is a relationship and you are supplying them. Remember, when they nominate, there are two things that they are basically indicating to us. They're indicating that this company, they are aware of it, and this company is their supplier. The second thing is that they are going to continue buying from this particular supplier, because we don't want them to just nominate and leave it there. So they must have you must have a continuous relationship, a supplier relationship with the OEM. So it's not a requirement. When you come to us and you indicate which OEM, we will contact that OEM. But it has to be an operation that is within, you are doing something for one of the members or the participants. And then in terms of the purchase order amount, of course there's no amount, but we are not looking at 1,000 rand purchase order, because there's a cost of us doing the work as well. So it has to be something that the business cannot carry itself, or cannot do it on its own. Then in terms of the timelines, it's 6 to 8 weeks, but it's also dependent on the availability of the information. So sometimes a company just contacts us in terms of inquiry, and information is never submitted. That is not an application. So we really start saying we have an engagement when we have all the documents that are required. Because for us to be able to continue in the process, it's when we have all the documents. So that is the thing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Who's tackling the next one?
Should I go? Okay. I can go. There was a question for me. But before I get to the question, I think good observation, I agree with you. Gone are the days of just reporting metrics on the basis of percentages. And I think what we are trying to do with the SAM review now is to say, instead of saying localization must be at 60% by year 2035, how do you intentionally build specific competencies that you want the country to have output of? For example, if we say mining beneficiations of certain minerals that goes into the car production or whatever it is, maybe copper, it could be PGMs and all of that, needs to be built in, because measuring localization as a result of what you thought somebody was going to do versus you instructing them as a country in terms of outlining exactly what should be the competency the country needs to focus are two different measures. Because at the time when you are reviewing all of these targets, at least you can say, so far, what has happened in copper in relation to the requirements that we wanted, and you can measure that both in value and in rands to see whether there's output or not, as a lever and a way to which we're driving output. So what we've put in place currently is the SAM Delivery Office, the South African Automotive Master Plan Delivery Office, which aims at coordinating with all other sector stakeholders. AIDC is a part of it, IDC sits in it, we have NAMSA, we have NACAM, we have RMI, where we are sitting to look at what are the type of projects that needs to be put in place for the team to execute as a driver of output of localization by waiting for it to be measured elsewhere. So I do agree with you. Measuring it from a percentage base is not going to help us move far. So I think, but there are steps that have been taken to address the manner in which we interact with the policy levers, but particularly creating agencies that are output based so that they drive that particular. I hope I've covered you.
I also like the BBC view of it. Because the BBC as a, let's say, overarching watchdog, I think has a massive role to play in this monitoring mechanism.
That's for you. Should I?
Let me finish here.
So my brother, I think your question is broad, so I want to narrow it so that I can understand it accurately. It's either you and the partner are partners in a business, and both of you own a JV, and that JV has a status and will approach us for funding, or you want to be an existing OEM in the market that provides certain solutions. Just which angle is the question coming out of?
The late.
Okay, so we are driving an equity equivalent investment program. And I mentioned in the beginning that the capital we manage, we've received it from the 7 OEMs. And this they are doing in time to meet their BBBE obligations and requirements. So the reason there's always the money and the opportunity for the 7 OEMs is because they are measured on it by the DTIC, whether they've complied or not. So if we take capital, for example, and take it to an OEM outside of the 7, we're actually working outside of the mandate. I hope that covers. Other questions?
Visibility. What are we doing for visibility?
There's a PR
Yeah, and I think maybe that question was probably just a point to note that we need more visibility, and certainly something that we're looking to get closer to certain constituencies that we want to work with. We do have platforms, of course, that everybody is able to access. We do have a LinkedIn account, those that are on Instagram, we have an account as well, but also a YouTube channel, which from time to time we are updating on developments in the sector. But in terms of visibility, a position that we've taken is really to get closer to the stakeholders. Our role in the EOC is one way that we're doing this, to try and expand it so where our net goes. We are part of other forums like the Gauteng Action Labs, which obviously focus on developing the automotive sector in the province and other things. But I think it's going to be more of these kind of engagements that we're going to be focusing on to ensure that we reach the people that we want to reach.
I neglected to Mama had a comment, but also she wanted to know
whether are we talking about these things or we started to do something about them. In our presentation, I think it was Cynthia when he was presenting on that, I forgot. So if you look at the South African Automotive Master Plan on industry transformation, we strongly felt is gender lens absent. It didn't consider women inclusion, for example, as a very specific targeted output that we must have. It looked at broadly just black ownership. Now, we updated our policy as the AITF to say let's ring-fence the funds we have, 30% of them towards women-owned businesses. I think they were reporting that to date we have supported, it's over 30%, actually 32% of our funds have gone in that direction. So it's not lip service, it's actual work that has happened. And that's why I agree with you that instead of talking about these things, I think we need to use our privileged position. I mean, we are here to serve. Sometimes we forget that the roles that we occupy, we're here to serve and deliver against what is required. So that is why I said the challenge is whatever you have in mind, please do share, so that when we are also sitting in other platforms, we are able to deposit the same in order that we can say, because the problem sometimes that we are solving for is not the problem that people are experiencing. And if you don't take a serving spirit, sometimes you miss the opportunity to hear what the actual problem is. So we are here positioning ourselves to listen and try and serve as best as possible as we can. and so on. We are not perfect. We continue trying to build a company that can add value. And sorry, our interventions are geared in the automotive sector. We'd like to obviously look at other things, but we hope that other structures that have been put up in the system will also complement our efforts to replicate in other industries and sectors and so on. I think the question that you asked, when you are not doing business with us, with an OEM, and there's no letter, I think feel free to engage the team. The team is open in exploring ways in which they can see how they can help, as long as obviously you're not looking for a grant to take and just apply and not think about what's next. From that perspective, the team must explore with you, see other ideas that you can explore to try and scale up your intervention. I think the team is always readily available to assist the audience and so on.
Thank you. I forgot to mention that the grant was supposed to go to, we are Mesita Workplace approved at our premises. We also have some accreditations from QCTO. And when you spoke about skills development that leads to entrepreneurship, that sort of leads to what we are already doing.
And I have to agree with Cynthia. I think the days of putting a billboard for us to be seen are gone. I think let's create more engagement even beyond this, so that we can engage and hear your thoughts and hear your views. Hold us accountable also as we go around saying things in the public domain. Please hold us accountable. Do follow up and ask and engage with our teams. But thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I know you all want to talk more and more, but the conversation can still go on after this. I'm going to call you, and I hope that in your remark you address the proportionality issue as well as you come forward. Can you give a round of applause to the BBC CEO?
Thank you very much. I was not coming to answer questions. we are arranging this so that people can hear from experts. We are just workers, so we are experts in everything. But thank you very much for the questions, and once more apologies for sorting the questions. We always start on time. Maybe let me start with your question. The existence of the PPC is to try and change legislation, and because the entire representativity is in the legislation, and you'll remember South Africa is a constitutional democracy. So anything that we do comes from the constitution, and then it goes to a specific legislation, and then maybe goes to the regulation. So if a legislation says 25%, that's what companies are going to implement, because people are implementing what is in the legislation. And as you may have experienced in the past 32 years of democracy, majority of the companies are going minimalistic in their approach. So if we're saying 25%, they are just going to slowly, in the pace of a tortoise, try to get to the 25%. And I think, unfortunately, government has allowed that to almost be a standard, which is not supposed to be, because remember, the target is the demographic representation. So ultimately, the ownership, management, and control of the economy should reflect the demographic of South Africa. So it should be 90, black people in general are 93% of the population, and white people are 7%. So ultimately, the target is that black people must own 92% of the 93% of the economy. But again, because we are legislation based, we have to fight for the legislation to change, and I think that's what we're doing on a daily basis to talk about legislation. How do we change legislation? To be honest, I think spoke about every Monday we're meeting, and those who want to volunteer, you can send your email to Maseli or Kelebogile
to volunteer. But it's a theoretical work, so the tender work or anything business. We're not going to get business out of that. It's like dealing with legislation, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph. But it's important to do that because once a legislation is passed, you can't do anything outside the legislation. Hence, we've been telling even the president that every youth day he'll go and say we'll put 40% of the state procurement and give it to black youth. Every Women's Day he does the same thing and say 40% will be given to black women. And we told him, South Africa is a constitutional democracy. Whatever you say, your speech don't necessarily mean anything. What means anything is legislation. If you are sitting at Transnet or ESCOM or AXA, you don't implement the president's speeches. You implement legislation. So whether the president says 100% or anything doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just a slogan. So hence we are fighting for changes of legislation to make sure that black people become the owners of the economy, the managers of the economy, the controllers of the economy. They play what you call a meaningful role in the economy. So come and join us, because I think it's easier for people to sit and point fingers and say someone will do the job, but they become beneficiaries. And then I think that's what we've realized, unfortunately, especially black professionals, black business owners, they always think someone will solve their problems. And unfortunately, no one is going to solve your problem. You have to solve the problem yourself. Hence, the Solidarity and Afro Forum, they are like almost running government. Because they've understood the importance of legislation. They are always participating in legislation. We're busy now with the Public Procurement Act regulations. And that's very, very important for procurement, for people who want to do business with government or the state in total. We're fighting for set-asides so that we can be able to set aside state procurement. I think Solidarity has already taken government court for that. But if we are sitting and watching without participating, we are always going to be seen to be complaining. So come and join us and let's fight the battle together, so that it becomes a majority fight, not a minority fight. But Jabudia, thank you very much. I think we will try maybe have another. This is June. Maybe towards the end of the year, maybe November, we can have another session. I think the contribution and discussion has been very fruitful, I hope, even for ourselves, colleagues. I think at least you're dealing with the real lived experience of people, and then I will hope when they come to you looking for funding, you're not going to chase them away. Sometimes it's easier to give speeches and say, no, we're doing this, and when people call you, don't even answer the calls. So we hope it will be very, very beneficial. So as you know, we do this thing very often. We partner with a lot of organizations because we've realized that there are two things: access to funding, access to the markets. There are other many things, but these are the two big things. You can have other things, but if you don't have access to funding, access to the market, you're not going to be able to run a dealerships or any other business. Talking about dealerships, I think in my other life while I was still young, I used to be a shareholder in dealerships, and I understand your struggles. It's not an easy thing. And I think also staying in the Eastern Cape, I'm not sure from a customer base, Mercedes-Benz, S-Class, G63, affordability. It's not an easy thing, because we used to have someone would buy a G63 and then they still have money, and then at some stage they can't afford it. So they bring the car almost every week, saying there's a noise there, there's a noise there, there's a noise there. And then we realize later that no, man, that's not the problem. The problem is that the person can't afford the car anymore, but the ego does not allow the person to bring the car so that you can solve that problem. But it's always complaining so that you can't repossess the car. So I know what you are going through, but good luck. I think it's important that we need to get into this and run businesses. People think that she's doing this for free, pro bono. If you're interested in doing these things yourself and facilitating Mercedes outside, you can leave your details. She's in internal audit. We're not paying her. So those who need internal audit, she's here. She's doing the pro bono for us. But thank you very much. We hope the session was fruitful, but I found it very fruitful myself. So yeah, I think let's agree that we'll do another one and increase the pool. Maybe we'll do it in a bigger venue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Highly appreciate it. Great. Yes, I'm in the audit profession, so we do external audit, we do accounting, and yeah, I'm hoping to have conversations as well outside of this, because this is free money. This is free time. My boss is gonna call. Anyway, we're gonna call the last speaker of the day, Mr. Zvu Kuzwayo, who is the acting executive of the zone operations, which is hosting us today. So can you just give him a round of applause as he comes to stage?
Is it afternoon? Good afternoon. Yes, I want to first apologize before I recognize the leadership of AITF and BBC. I heard the BBC leader saying they are never late. We made them late. We had a board discussion today, so unfortunately they are the shareholders. So when they say jump, we say how high. So I'd like to apologize for that. All protocols observed. I want to maybe mention a few things. So I wear two hats as an acting executive at the zone operations, where we have one OEM, which is Ford, and we have tier 1, tier 2 suppliers, about 11 of them. And my job is a senior manager enterprise and supplier development. So I know what small businesses will carve out, especially AITF. And I want to give credit to AITF because we've had an MOU for 3 years that we didn't use. And imagine you are in SOE with the power to engage both the people that should be giving businesses to black people, and we can't access you. So I want to give you credit that you're trying your level best to be accessible, because perception in my economic study tells me it rules our economy. So when people perceive AITF as an unfunder for SME, or now it's called MSMEs, then that means the market is not going to be conducive for you to fund them, the perception which is negative. When it comes to BBC, you're representing us as black people, and the question will be how? What is the impact? So as Ta says, we are a new baby. Normally we are said we are a child of AITC, which we see here. And one of the key things that we're trying to do is how do we ensure that the small business, black business, participate in our processes. So we've got 2 processes, and as a landlord, your process is collecting rent from your tenants. And I think the perception in the market is that we are supposed to create opportunities for SMMEs to do business with Ford or tier 1s and tier 2, and that you're a landlord. So you're collecting so much rent, and then the next thing you're telling them you need to comply. So it's a bit tricky. Where we are doing very well is on our maintenance cost. Find that about 90% of our cost is done by black-owned businesses. And we are now pushing for women-owned, people with disability. And when we construct, we also ensure, I think there are records that will show, we've met about 43% on our phase 1 and phase 2. So as we are hosting you here, AITF and BBC, and with the colleagues from business, this is your home to also start engaging, finding the right people that you can support. TASES will always work together with AIDC and other partners so that we ensure that we give opportunities that is tangible to the businesses that are out there. The business is the one that's going to change our economy. not the big business, the small businesses that employ 2, 3, 5, 10. We ensure we emphasize on them participating in the mainstream economy, especially the automotive with the challenges that they were going through. Job cuts, changes to EVs that are affecting your traditional cars. How do we, as guys that are not producing, ensure that the people, the cars that are still here or the traders that are still here, they still remain relevant, but also incorporate the new type of cars that are flooding our market, and how do business benefit from that. So as Tar says, we are ready, our doors are open, and I'm hoping this is not the last time coming here. We apologize we're not around, but I would even encourage that sometimes you have such events, especially in the zone where there is action. So you can see what we have built with government support in a space of 3 to 5 years. And that asset is over 5 billion worth of the asset. But how many black people benefited becomes critical. So you must see it first. So encourage that your next one must be at the zone, then you can go anywhere else. So that we are able to support. But thank you for embracing us. We apologize also. I know entering CSIR is a challenge, but it's a national key point. Unfortunately, there are certain rules and regulations that we have to abide by, because if the president was to come in, we need to make sure that everybody here is registered. So I didn't hear all the debate, but I had some questions. Some I wish to answer, but I'm not. But I really hope you guys had a good engagement, robust, honest, and with a way forward. Let's not be a talk show. Let's show action. SMMEs are normally told they are useless. I think they are used less. So if we can use them properly, then things will move forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I did promise you that just after 1 we'll be done, and we are done at 1 o'clock. I did promise you that there will be drinks. There are drinks. I don't know whether they have the level of things that we want, but there's lunch available. If it doesn't have anything that you want, unfortunately, I tried. It's not me. It's the sponsor. That being said, we also, one of the things that we do is we want to ensure visibility of businesses, black businesses, MSMEs. So what if you want to have a video taken, so we have our marketing guys here, we can get a video of what you do as a business, and then we'll put it in our website just for free, so that we just put you out there. So if you are interested in that, is she in the room? She was in the room. She's wearing a Bafana t-shirt. That's how you get her. But you can ask me to get you Oloitu, and then you are able to book an appointment, and we are able to see what video can we take for you, and we put you on our website. That's something that we want to do all the time, especially with people who attend such presentations. So that means, can we give a round of applause for that? Isn't that nice? Yeah. Yes. That being said, we've come to the end of the discussion. I hope it has been amazing as you anticipated. But I believe that during lunch we'll have more discussions, more conversation, more networking. I just said at the beginning, you are here for something or someone. Let's hope that's a business opportunity and not a soulmate. Thank you.